So we're hoping to clarify with this short series of lectures what makes the Lukens method different. How does this differ from other understandings, other approaches, other methods to providing treatment for mental health issues? How does it differ in terms of understanding about human functioning? And maybe more specifically, how does it differ in terms of the understanding about human motivation, what makes people tick? So I put together a series of sound bites, aphorisms, short statements, and they're designed to stimulate thought, stimulate conversation, maybe provoke a little bit. And in the end, in a roundabout way, it collectively are designed to give you kind of a flavor of what it is that I do that's different, or how it is that I see things that might be a little bit different. So the first item up here, and hopefully you can see it from the glare or whatnot, the idea that the truth actually will set you free. So we've all heard that aphorism, the truth will set you free. And it's been taken to mean a lot of different things through the ages. I mean something fairly specific about it, but in some respects, what I mean by it is really consistent with the general understanding of that. That the flip side of that lies keep you locked up. You are bound up by the lies that you tell and the lies that you live. And clearly the guilty conscience, that sense of being held hostage by your own guilt, and then when you finally come clean, you're freed of that self-imprisonment that guilt represents. But that's one narrow meaning of it. I mean in a kind of enlarged sense. I'm going to be developing the idea of the truth throughout this whole discussion, and it's a very central concept for me, the truth. And I use it quite specifically. And so the whole statement, the truth actually will set you free. You just have to stop running away from it. And we all know about truth and lies as these relate to our relationship to other people. I'm referring to, more specifically, the lies that we tell ourselves. And to me, the work that we do, this powerful therapeutic work that we do, really takes place at the nexus of our reality and our ability to be truthful with ourselves about our own reality. So what do I mean by that? I'm walking along, minding my own business. I have a horrifying thought. Somebody I love is getting on an airplane, and I say, "Oh God, I hope it doesn't, fall out of the sky, and I hope they don't die in a plane crash, and I hope they arrive safely." And as soon as I think that, I'm kind of flooded with the fear that you might expect should be connected to that kind of meaningful consideration. And like most people, I might be inclined immediately to push it out of my mind. And I'll say something to myself, "Oh, come on, we all know, there's been hardly any commercial airline disasters in umpteen years. Flying is safer than driving," and all that stuff we say to reassure ourselves. And while that may all be factually correct, the truth here is that I had a scary thought. And I considered this potential for a really horrifying outcome for myself and for my loved one. And now that I've stirred my own pot meaningfully, I'm trying to suppress my reaction to it. And I'm essentially trying to dismantle this idea so that it doesn't affect me. And God forbid I have something of a superstitious nature, like the fact that I thought it means I might be making it happen. Children have that kind of magical thinking. They have a thought and then something happens and like, "Oh my God, did my thought cause it?" So this is one little snippet of an interaction I'm having privately inside my own mind. I flirt with a consideration which is relevant to me in my meaningful world, and I immediately am horrified with it, and now I'm working to dismiss it. And all this is taking place inside my skin, and unbeknownst to anybody around me, I'm getting myself, worked up. I'm feeling anxious. I'm now defending against my own, internal experience, and I'm chasing my tail. And any of you out there that have a legitimate, technical anxiety disorder, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you do this inside your own private, meaningful world all the time. Well, the truth here is a consideration about a possibility and the meaning of that possibility should it happen. It's not, in fact, a dance with the facticity, because this is something I'm anticipating, something I'm imagining, except to the degree that the fact remains that plane crashes do happen, and people do die, and they are horrifying. And if you're somebody out there that had that experience, then you know it's actually a potential reality. And there's nothing in the world that protects any individual from the risk involved in that. So that is really, in my mind, the greater truth that I'm encountering when I have the consideration, and then I'm running away from it as fast as I possibly can because it's too horrifying to consider. And right here, maybe I'll show that little snippet, Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson acting in A Few Good Men, the movie A Few Good Men, the courtroom scene where Cruise is pressing him as the prosecuting attorney, and he's on the stand, Nicholson's on the stand, and he says, "You can't handle the truth." Inside our own realities, we have truths that we find difficult. We use our defenses, we use whatever strategy or tactic we can muster at the time to try to handle both the meaning of the truth and the emotional fallout that's connected with the truth. And we do this whether or not we're fantasizing about possible truths or dealing with truths that have already, in a sense, taken place in the real physical world. So we also have this thing that we do where we don't dwell on our sadness. You know how many times I've heard that as a therapist? Well, why would I want to talk about it? I want to dwell on it. You should know I see that as an incredible and transparent cop-out. That in fact, it's not a consideration about whether it's good to dwell on something or not. It's again, like Jack Nicholson is saying, there is a truth. It did take place. You couldn't handle it at the time. You're still not handling it. And so the best you can come up with is some lame justification that makes no sense to you logically to dwell on it. You're not resisting dwelling on it coolly and calmly like it's just a waste of time. What you're doing is you're motivated to justify your fear in the face of your own reality. And so we draw the conclusion that the truth will set you free, and really it isn't so much the truth itself that sets you free, it's your willingness to have the truth be the truth that sets you free. And in the fullest sense of the term, that in and of itself doesn't completely set you free, but that's the beginning of your freedom. More has to happen. And that more that has to happen is a relatively forthright, honest confrontation of the truth and the fallout from the truth, more specifically the emotional fallout from the truth involving all the unwanted and painful, quote unquote, feeling states that are connected to it. And so you go through that process, and I can guarantee you that you will have liberation. Trouble is, it's very often difficult for us to grapple with the truth at that high level of integrity if we're not being supported. We find it hard to hold our feet to our own fires. Hence we have a process like the therapeutic intensives, where if you believe you have enough courage to do it, but maybe not the wherewithal to get it done on your own, we can help you accomplish that. And on the other side of that, is what I refer to as completion. And this is the equivalent of that kind of freedom that this statement implies.